All these bitches love saying stuff like, I'm a girl's girl, I'm a girl's girl. Yeah, bitch, if you a girl's girl, why don't you share your nigga, bitch? Share your nigga with your bitch then. If you's a girl's girl, share your nigga. You can't be a girl's girl when you feel like it. You can't be a girl's girl when it's time to get your nails done and when it's time to watch The Notebook and cry and listen to the new bitch R&B album that dropped that knows she's fucking with a gay nigga and now she want to cry about it on a record. That's not what being a girl's girl is about. And calling her man when you see her cheating. A girl's girl will be like, you know what? My friend is doing bad and I got a good man. I should share my man with my homegirl. We could both be happy. Why is it right for me to be happy and my homegirl not be happy? Why is it right for me to have good dick and my homegirl don't have good dick? If you's a girl's girl, you will share your nigga.
All right, giving all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahweh Shai by Hashem HaKodash. Say double honors to our apostles and elders, Harry Great Millstone, peace and blessings to the Lord's hopefully elect. So I don't know who that woman is, but the brother had shared it earlier, and I like what you said. Now, this isn't coming from a position of lust. You know, I'm just going to cover really two or three things that she said. Number one being, in the very near future, if your husband, or even if you are a single woman and you stumble across a man to be protected, to be guided in the upcoming evils, there is a possibility, okay, strong possibility at that you could very well be sharing your husband, according to prophecy, right? And let's read it. Isaiah chapter 4 says, in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. And it says 7, but it could be any number, because when you read the other scriptures in the Bible, you understand that 7 means completion. And there are times where 7 is used as a way to say a complete number, which it doesn't have to necessarily be 7. It could be 2, 3, 4, 5, or 7 or more. And even the other translations, such as the NLT, in that day, so few men will be left that 7 women will fight for each man, saying, let us all marry you. We will provide our own food and clothing. Only let us take your name so we won't be mocked as old maids. And that prophecy is actually coming to pass now as we are entering Jacob's trouble. So here is a fact. You're right. There is a chance, I'll put it that way, that you could very well be sharing your husband with another woman or other women. And what I like what she said was, she's saying that when she says girls, I'm assuming she means like a feminine girl, like a princess or whatever it is. Yes, these women are, say like women in the truth, right? So-called in the truth. These women that claim they're in the truth, right? Up until the point where there's talk about possibly sharing their husband. So which the point she's making is actually a good point. Like, you know, even the apostles say, you want to know if your wife is really in the truth? Talk about getting another wife. Now, we're not saying to go do that. We're just using that as an expression because you're going to start something. No, that's just the idea. But it's going to come across, you know, the idea of her possibly sharing you, is she going to show you how she really feels about that. And that's how you really know if your woman's in the truth or not. That's why I like what she said. Because what she's saying is right. You know, they're all, Proverbs 31 woman. A virtuous woman. Every woman's a virtuous woman in the truth until it comes to the possibility of them sharing their husband. And that's the second thing, because what she said is actually in the scriptures. The women in the ancient actually did these things. And even she understands that concept, not even being in the truth. Genesis chapter 16. Now Sarah, Abram's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abram, Behold, now the Lord Yahweh have restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go into my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abram hearkened unto the voice of Sarah. And Sarah took Abram's wife, and Sarah, Abram's wife, took Hagar, her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. Sarah did that. And another, our foremothers, which Sarah's one as well, Rachel and Leah. Genesis 30. Now this is because Jacob married Leah and Rachel. And Jacob with Leah had this time had 4 sons already, which was Reuben, Levi, Simeon, and Judah. So at this point, Rachel had bear him no children. Genesis chapter 30. And when Rachel saw that she bare Jacob no children, Rachel envied her sister and said unto Jacob, Give me children, or else I die. And Jacob's anger was kindled against Rachel, and he said, Am I in the Most High's stead, who have withheld the fruit of the womb? So she was saying, Look, Jacob, give me children, or else my life, has no purpose. And Jacob said, I'm not the Most High. What you getting mad at me for? Verse 3, and she said, Behold, my maid Bilhah, go in unto her, and she shall bear upon my knees, that I may also have children by her. And she gave him Bilhah, her handmaid, to wife, and Jacob went in unto her, and Bilhah conceived, and bare Jacob a son. And Rachel said, Yahweh have judged me, and have also heard my voice, and have given me a son. Therefore called she his name Dan. And Bilhah, Rachel's maid, conceived again, and bare Jacob a second son. And Rachel said, With great wrestlings have I wrestled with my sister, and I have prevailed. And she called his name Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had left bearing, she took Zilpah, her maid, and gave her Jacob to wife. So Jacob had 4 wives. So that's an account of women in the ancient who gave their husband, in this case, they did it because of the surrogacy. So they said, look, I want you to take her, so go into her, okay, so I can have children. That's what they did. So that's what I actually like what she said. Like I said, she's not even in the truth. She's in the world, but she understands at least one concept, that if because guess what? These women today, they wouldn't, so let's say, she put it this way, she is willing to do what 99% of women who claim they're in the truth won't do. Even if it was with a sister in the truth. Say if a woman got a sister, in the truth, she can't find a man, she's struggling and all that. The thought of saying, how about this? You could be a part of my family. We'll be good, bada bing, bam, boom. You got to check with the husband, got to run it by the husband, because maybe he may not want to take the load. But when she go to her husband and say, hey, listen, such and such, my friend, listen, I want, she can't find no husband. She's struggling. I want her to be a part of our family. So, what do you think about taking her in and all that? You got to run it by the man to see if he's willing to do it. But that idea, 99% of women that claim they're in the truth, that wouldn't even come across their minds. But that's why I like what she said, because, every woman in the truth basically is a daughter of Sarah up until it comes to the idea that they could be sharing her husband. But guess what? According to prophecy, because that's why we ain't just entertaining this to be entertaining it. And like I said, this isn't coming from a position of lust or anything. Look, whenever somebody asks, I tell them, look, the best route is not to have a wife, period. Okay? And wait until the prophecy, which we'll just go back to. And then if you know it's of the Lord, then so be it. But then at that point, you're waiting on the Lord to do it, and you're not trying to force it, because, some brothers get caught up because they're trying to force this. Let the Lord do it. And even then, you still got to be careful, because you got to just see, is she just trying to get over on one? Right? So you got to operate off the spirit. But here's the prophecy. Here's what's going to come to pass. We'll read it again, Isaiah 4. And in that day, 7 women shall take hold of one man, saying, we will eat our own bread and wear our own apparel. Only let us be called by thy name to take away our reproach. And what day is that? The day of trouble, which is already happening now. So that right there, I would say this, as a woman, if that's happening to your husband and he's in the truth, okay, and he's out there teaching, that right there is proof that the Lord is dealing with him, because even those women are trying to get a ticket to salvation. You're going to have to accept the fact that there's a chance that you're going to end up having to share him. Or what you going to do? Go out there and fend for yourself? That's you literally leaving your covering. This is what the prophecy says, and it's going to come to pass real soon. It's already happening. Look, the brother they just shared a clip of a video talking about a new thing, talking about lavender marriages or something like that. That's where women so-called marry a sodomite, somebody who's gay. And I look at that and I say, okay, well, good for them, because women, they give birth, they create sodomites, and they maintain sodomites to death. So if they get so-called getting together, good. Good, because as the scripture says, they're going to get exactly what they deserve, such as Romans 1. That's another thing you got to look at. All these men out here, just about every man out here, man, is a damn sodomite. These men are on the down low, As time progressively get worse, guess what? The elect man, you could say the value of that man just increases each and every day, because all these men out here are a bunch of sodomites, on a bunch of down low. So a lot of these women who actually looking for man, seeing that these men are gay, that just make the righteous man even more hard to find. So that's why the prophecy going to come to pass. Like if you read that in the NLT, it said there shall so few men be left. So there's only few men out here, right, who are righteous in the eyes of the Lord, the elect. So few men are going to be left. So if a woman sees that she's in trouble, and she sees that man is a man of the Lord, and she's going to play ball and say, I just want to be under give me your name, basically, and guide me, teach me your scriptures and all that, and she's willing to play ball, okay, yes, she's not going to care how many other women you got, right? Because of the prophecy, she's just looking to survive. She wanna be saved. That's what's going to happen real soon. See? And if you call yourself a woman in the truth, you're going to have to be okay with that fact, that possibility. Okay? Because a woman like that, and she's not even in the truth, she's in the world, that little concept, she understands. And she, as you can see, she'll be okay with that. So go figure. What I come here for? Oh, yes. So Romans 1. Verse 24, dealing with sodomites, both men and women. It says, wherefore Yahweh also gave them up to uncleanness through the lust of their own hearts, to dishonor their own bodies between themselves, who changed the fruit of Yahweh into a lie, the truth of Yahweh into a lie, and worshipped and served the creature more than the Creator, who is blessed forever. Amen. For this cause, the Most High Yahweh gave them up unto vile affections, for even their women did change the natural use into that which is against nature, which is what? Lesbianism. So the Lord gave them over to that vile affection, right? And it says, and likewise also the men, leaving the natural use of the woman, burned in their lust one toward another, men with men working that which is unseemly, and receiving in themselves the recompense of their error, which was meat. Meat, meaning good for them. And that typically ends up in diseases. Because when you transgress the law of the Heavenly Father, there's consequences. So I'm like, okay, good. Let those women get with those sodomites, and they're putting it all on the internet, how much fun they're having and all that. All that anyway is just a facade. Because, they're only doing it. They're both miserable. And they have to put it on the internet how much fun they have because they think they hurting, a straight man or whatever. They think they hurting them by saying, look at what we're doing. We're having so much fun. We're having a blast. That's just for show. Because when it all gets said and done, that's why the cameras have to stay rolling. Because they have to show others. Because if the cameras aren't rolling, ain't nothing happening behind the scenes. Because at the end of the day, she's going to want an actual man to be there. They're just having quote unquote fun. But in doing so, they're going to get exactly what they deserve. Them diseases, man. I hope any women do that. I hope they record their fights and put it on the internet so we can laugh. He ain't a real man. And they both, two women basically arguing. It's hilarious. But that just shows you, and they'll say, oh, they're doing this because they can't find love or whatever. Part of the reason why they're doing it is because sodomy's on the increase. Just about all these men out here are sodomites. And they got to be dealt with somehow. So if women want to marry them, they're the ones that create them anyway. And then they both gonna get the recompense for their error. So in the midst of all this chaos, okay, the righteous man, the man who keeps his integrity and fears the scriptures, all right, his value just increases even more and more. He becomes more and more scarce. So what you think is going to happen when all hell breaks loose and these women can actually see that man got his wits about him, he fears the Lord, he's level-headed, he can give proper instruction and guidance, and these women trying to survive, and they can see that, let's say your husband is that man, and they're saying, look, I'll play ball, okay? I don't care about none of that stuff. Can I just, we'll play the role. Yes, that's what the prophecy says. And we know that's the only prophecy that women want to stop, but you can't stop it. So all we can say is that you should just get ready, okay, and get used to the fact that there's a chance you could share your husband. Because like she said, every woman's a girly girl, aka a woman's a holy woman, a virtuous woman, until it comes time that, your husband, you could be sharing your husband with another woman. So all we can say to you women out there, you better be prepared, because the day is coming as society continues to crumble, as women getting thrown out their homes, being homeless because they don't have any guidance, because they went out in the world. They didn't have a man to teach them or to guide them. So they really just let the so-called white man, the devil, Esau Edom, be their dad, tell them what to do. And Esau Edom said, go into debt. Rack up the credit card bills, rack up the college degrees, just do all the stuff. You ain't got no sense of direction. And by the end of it, you got loads of debt. You don't know how to pay the bills. You're getting evicted. You're getting kicked out. While all this stuff is happening, these women gonna get desperate, and they're gonna be looking to latch on to whoever it is they can save, that can save them. And if they're willing to play ball and help that man out, wherever the area he's want to help out, so that they might be saved, you better come to terms that could very well happen. And just know that you just got to do your best to stay in good graces with Yahweh Shem Shai. Do your part, And really, in your husband's eyes, you're going to always come first anyway. So I just like what she said. Thought it was interesting, especially coming with the times that we're about to come in. And just let it be known, okay? These women, you women you're gonna have to be okay with that possibility if you claim you're really in the truth. All right? Shalom.